Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
Moving on to topic 3. Here we look at the size of population. Okay. So we looked at population, census, and then density. Now we'll look at the size of population. Okay. Whether it's large or whether it is small. Now population in the world, they are not spread evenly. They are not equally spread. Okay, all countries do not have equal kind of population. Like some countries will have population which is very less compared to what India has. India's population is extremely large. Okay, China's population is extremely large. But then if you look at Australia, then it may be very less compared to India and China. So what we are trying to understand here is that how population size also differs from country to country. Alright. So population density is basically the average number of people who live in a fixed area. Okay. Like how we said the density is people living in one small unit of that area. Okay. One small square unit of that area. So that is population density. So that also helps us understand the size of the population. There are some continents. If you look at all the 7 continents of the world, some continents are densely populated while other continents are not. So the densely populated continents are Asia and Europe. Okay. India is part of the continent of Asia. Alright. Now, if we look at cities, we looked at continents. Right. Now, if we look at one particular country and then within that country if you look at cities, then you'll also be able to see that how the size of the population differs from one city to another, one place to another. And then we understand and we can see that the cities are usually more densely populated than rural areas, meaning the villages are sparsely populated. Right? But the cities and towns are densely populated. For example, let's take Delhi. Delhi is overpopulated. Delhi is densely populated. It has thousands and thousands of people living here. Okay? But if you look at a small village in Bihar, in the state of Bihar, or maybe in Arunachal Pradesh, okay, now that village will be very sparsely populated compared to Delhi. So the cities, big cities, mega cities, towns, they are densely populated than the villages or the rural areas. Now, when we say that some areas are densely populated, now that does not mean that they are overpopulated. Okay, so we must not confuse densely populated with overpopulated. We must not confuse. They do not mean the same thing. They mean different thing. Okay, when we say overpopulated, when we say an area or a city or a country is overpopulated, then we are trying to say that the resources available in that country are few for the people or the size of the population of that country. Okay, now let's try to understand this. Now, overpopulation occurs when the resources are few, okay, and they are not enough for all the people living in that area. And as a result of that, what happens? The standard of living of that population is very low. They're not high. Okay, so then we can say that area or that country is overpopulated when the resources are low, when the resources are few, and when the standard of living of that area is also very low, standard of living of the people. Now, if we take, for example, the country of United Kingdom, okay, United Kingdom has many people. It has a large population, okay, it has large density population, but just because it has large number of people, we cannot say it is overpopulated. It is not overpopulated. And why we can say it's not overpopulated? Because the resources that that country, United Kingdom, has is enough for all the people living in that country, enough for the size of population of that country, and it can provide basic facilities to all the people living in that area, as a result of which the people have high living standards. Okay, so this is why we can say United Kingdom is not overpopulated, despite the fact that it has large population density. But if we look at India, okay, India as another example, then we can say India is overpopulated. India has overpopulation. This means that the resources that India has been overused. Okay, it is not enough for the size of population that India has. The resources are not enough for the use of each and every individual living in the area. Okay, living in the country. So because of that, they don't receive basic facilities equally, and they also have low living standards. So this is why India, on the other hand, is overpopulated. Okay. Now, there is something called optimum population. Now, what is optimum population? When the size of the population of a country produces maximum amount of goods and services with the help of the resources that they have, then that's called optimum population. Okay, so these kind of population can be seen in countries which are not overpopulated, because the people living in that country, they use the resources available in that country, which is enough for everybody, and they produce maximum amount of goods and services. So that situation, that condition is called optimum population. Okay. Now, when the population grows, if the population and the number of people keeps on growing, people keep producing more people, more children, then the number of people, the population grows, right? Then there will be a condition, there will be a state where basic facilities cannot be provided to each and every individual in that country, okay, or in that area. And as a result of that, the resources will be overused, okay, and the goods and services and facilities which should be provided for each and every individual also does not happen. In fact, it declines, because there is not much goods and services which are sufficient or which can be enough for every single individual living in that country. So this is what happens when there is a state of overpopulation. Okay.